You like me spoilers, don't ye? Then let me tell ye a tall tale. This hither transmission contains spoilers for the Lighthouse. Why'd you spill your beans, Glenn? Ye have been warned.
Welcome back, ye sandlot. My name is Glenjamin Button along with me sand-clad friend, Miguel Migusto.
Call me Migusto.
Migusto, we are heading on a voyage of tall tales.
Why'd you spill your beans, Glenn?
Oh man, it got really hard there for a second.
How you doing?
Oh man, I feel like a new man, hallucinating and all.
Oh yes, and all the mermaid sex ye can
All
have.
the sexual splendor ye want.
How long we been doing this podcast? A week?
Over
5 days?
Over 52 weeks, and that's a year.
We're getting out of control here. What movies have you watched this week?
Hey, the only movies I watched this week are movies we've watched together.
Oh, so sweet.
So honestly, you can just go straight to yours, and we'll just talk about it.
Well, there we go. So I started off last week with watching Space Jam: A New Legacy.
Speaking of, I wanted to... Did you... Actually, can talk about it real quick. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just saying, like, how, with being a new dad and everything, the amount of times I can go to the movie theater is extremely limited. Mm-hmm. Normally, no matter how bad it is, I would go to a theater.
Yeah.
But this one, I looked it up because I saw it was also on HBO Max, and I was like, is this going to be worth it for me to go? And the critics said no, and I'm inclined to agree with them.
Yeah, I saw that you didn't have a 60-second review on it.
Oh yeah,
I thought that was hilarious enough.
I didn't have enough to say, so I'll just go to my Letterboxd review. This makes the 1996 Space Jam look like Citizen Kane, and it makes LeBron James makes Michael Jordan look like Orson Welles in quality. So. Yeah, there's that.
I would have loved if that was the whole 60-second review.
Honestly, yeah. If and the rest is just me sitting there,
just silence.
Fuck it, I might do it anyway. I might do that.
I'm ready for it.
So if you're seeing this, you might want to check our Instagram, see if I do that. It's probably a movie kids are gonna like. It's very modern, which is what a problem I had with it. Like it focused too much on modern times, which is fine.
Yeah.
I kind of figured it would. And I understand that the first Space Jam is not a good movie, which is why I kind of made it funny by saying this makes the first one look like Citizen Kane.
Yeah.
Because it's not a good movie, but it is a fun movie. This, for me, was not fun. But I remember my dad liking the first one. Mm-hmm. Obviously not as much as me, but like that at least seemed like it'd be more fun for people who like the Looney Tunes.
Well, from what I also hear, this also digs into the Warner Brothers money bag that is all their content.
Oh my god! It is a like
which
Warner Brothers jerk off fest, which makes it horrible.
Kind of deprives it of the fun
charm
that
of the first one. Yeah. So yeah, it's definitely
when Looney Tunes walks up to Warner Brothers superheroes. Well,
yeah. It is a 2-hour-long commercial essentially for both LeBron James and Looney Tunes and Warner Brothers and stuff.
Yeah.
Then I rewatched Escape Room because I wanted to see the second one. Escape Room is, it's a fun movie. I think it's a movie that gets overlooked because it came out in January. But the first Escape Room is really fun, and I stand by that after watching it a second time. It is a fun.
You've told me to watch it a few times.
Yeah, it's like you're not gonna like be mind blown or anything, but it's a fun horror action movie.
Plus your doppelganger's in it.
My doppelganger Tyler Labine is in it. Did I tell you about the time I was in Panera Bread and this woman came up to me?
I just say it like that. Panera Bread?
I don't know. Panera Bread. Anyway, I went into Panera Bread.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a ghost of Panera
And while
Bread.
I was waiting for my food, this woman who was in the dining room came up to me and said, "Has anyone ever told you look like Tyler Labine?" And I said, "Yes, multiple people." And then she showed me a picture, even though I said yes.
Nice.
Like I didn't know who he was, and I was like, yeah, I definitely see it.
But clearly you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, I legitimately think I look a lot like him.
You do.
So hopefully I age as gracefully as he has. He looks great. He looks great. I hope I look great when I'm his age. And not that he's like super old, but he's older than me. But yeah, so Escape Room's really fun. So I watched Escape Room Tournament of Champions. That one was still fun, but it's kind of that kind of series where the more you find out about the world, the more flaws there are, where you're just like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
And it kind of becomes less immersive the more you find out about it, which is fine. I think Escape Room would have been fantastic as a standalone. It's an okay sequel. I still enjoyed watching it, but not as much as the first one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Then we watched Old together. You and I both watched Old. We're gonna have a review of that on YouTube at some point within the next week or so. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I don't want to get into much about that, but M. Night Shyamalan's latest film, Old, and then we watched the same day and did a review the same day, Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins.
With Henry, I'm Gonna Bang You Golding.
Henry, I'm Gonna Bang You Golden. We also did a review for that, so you can check that out as well. But yeah, so yeah, Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins, that review will also be on YouTube, if it's not already, within the next week or so. Then I rewatched Lighthouse because I've already seen it. We're going to get into that in a minute. And then today I rewatched The Book of Eli because I haven't seen it since it was in theaters in 2010. And I remember really not really enjoying it, but like liking it, but being kind of turned off by like the twist aspect of it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into the twist because it does contain spoilers, but this is a movie that plays better the second time you watch it when you know the twist, because it makes things less weird, if that makes sense. So yeah, Book of Eli, I really enjoyed it the second time around. But that's all I watched, those 7 movies or so. And yeah. We got no news, so I guess we should just get into The Lighthouse.
Tell me, what's a timberman want with being a wickie?
Just looking to earn a living, just like any man. Starting new.
On the run. Keeping secrets, are you?
No, sir.
Why, just spill your beans.
The Lighthouse. 2 lighthouse keepers try to maintain their sanity while living on a remote and mysterious New England island in the 1890s. Directed by Robert Eggers written by Robert Eggers and Max Eggers. It's starring Robert Pattinson, Willem Dafoe, and Valeria Caravan. I got tired of doing that.
You brought back your sanity, if anything.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I picked this because I've been wanting to rewatch it for a little bit, and my week when it was my turn to pick was just so crazy that I didn't feel like thinking. So I just picked a movie that had been on my mind lately, and that was The Lighthouse. Yeah, it came out in 2019, October, I believe, if not November, like fall.
Yeah, this movie came out when I came back from Virginia, basically.
Yeah. I remember there was a potential that it was going to be out in Ireland when I saw it. It ended up not being out in Ireland when I was in Ireland, but I was really excited at the idea of seeing it while in Ireland.
Yeah.
But it, that didn't happen. It didn't come out for another 3 months in Ireland after that. But yeah, The Lighthouse. This is a movie that I feel like gets memed a lot.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it's a memeable movie, and you get everything from just Willem Dafoe yelling "Hark" to
to Robert Pattinson beating the living shit out of a seagull.
Yeah, exactly.
And like music with it.
Yeah, and it's Robert Eggers is the kind of filmmaker that loves to be historically accurate, We know that with The Witch, the one of the only extras on the Blu-ray for The Witch is just an interview with historians about how ridiculously accurate it is as far as like the costuming and the set design and everything. And this is kind of the same thing where they like had people checking out exactly what time frame this would be and what people would be wearing, everything down to their accents, where apparently Robert Pattinson's accent comes from a very specific part of Maine, like farmland Maine, and of course Willem Dafoe's is like your typical sea shanty sailor type voice, and it's a very immersive film with a unique style because it is shot in I think the aspect ratio
35.
It's shot on 35 film, I believe.
Yeah. And then I can't remember what the aspect is.
The aspect, it's close to 1:1. I don't know if it's exactly 1:1, but it's close. And then the film stock they used is a very it's a double X stock, black and white, which requires more light, but it makes it look darker. I'm reading this right now, so they
so 1.19 by 1.
Oh yeah, so very close to 1:1. And that kind of makes it feel like an old silent film, visually speaking, of course, because that's kind of how it was before, the different kinds of lenses were created. So, I mean, Robert Eggers, regardless of what you think of his writing and his stories, he is going to create a visually immersive film, no matter what it is. And
I think I even read before he even wrote the script that that's what he wanted, those styles.
Oh yeah, yeah. He, I like Robert Eggers a lot. I think he's one of the best upcoming. Well, not upcoming because he's made 2 really great films. One of the best newer filmmakers out there, and so I kind of read up on him. Before he kind of got this greenlit, he wanted to do a silent black and white remake of Nosferatu. But of course, no one would bankroll that.
Yeah.
So he kind of moved on to this, but he's all about the style. His background is in set design and wardrobe, so that's where his mind is at all the time, and it really helps sell the film overall.
It does.
Yeah.
There was a lot about this movie that I was reading while watching, because obviously I watched it in theaters and had no idea what the fuck was going on. So it was good that you picked this because I did want to see it again. But while watching it, I was reading a lot on it, and there was just a lot of information. Like his brother was just backing him the whole time. He's like, "Yeah, keep going. Yeah, just keep doing it, dude. It's fine. It's fine. Just keep working on it." Like it was supposed to be like a Lovecraft type story about 2 sailors, and then
you can definitely see that as well.
Yeah, and then it morphed its way into this instead. Because I think he couldn't get the backing for the Nosferatu thing. He couldn't get backing for this when it was originally pitched, I think, is what I'm reading here. And then made it to this, what we are seeing now. Yeah. And obviously got the backing for it. And there was even like a thing for he had to shoot it in the style that he shot it. And then the company was like, all right, well, can you at least take out the full frontal nudity parts, and then we'll do that. And then that's what we got now. So it was really cool, just like the road this kind of was on before it was actually made.
I hate the word auteur, but he definitely is an auteur in a way where he knows exactly what he wants. And that's part of filmmaking, is give and take. You want to be able to get a film made, so that does require some compromise, like getting rid of full frontal nudity, but still having a prosthetic mermaid vagina.
Oh yeah.
So
even Defoe, I read that he said there was basically no discussion. Man knew what he wanted, and that's the way it was.
Yeah, exactly. And during the filming of this, like a lot of the harsh weather they had, they didn't need rain machines or wind machines or anything. That's just how it was when they were there.
Yep.
And obviously that would make filming miserable. And it's things like that I love about filmmaking in general. Sometimes the story of the film is more interesting than the film itself. This I don't think is the case. I think this is an incredibly interesting film.
I think both are very interesting,
yeah,
for sure.
But I can't think of an example, but there are some movies where, or like The Room, the making of The Room is more interesting than The Room itself.
That's actually probably the perfect example.
Yeah, and I know like The Room has a lot of cult success for being terrible, but the making of it is a lot more interesting than the movie itself. But yeah, they were just bombarded, and it kind of reminded me, obviously to a much lesser extent, when we were filming my upcoming movie in January in the snow and everything. Just like things just kept happening and having to roll with the punches. That's the thing that I love about filmmaking, and it really oftentimes turns up the best in film, like the best result in film, and this is no exception.
Absolutely.
The performances between Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe, like, I'm glad I watched it with subtitles this time, because the first time I watched it, I had no idea what they were saying the majority of the time, almost like it was a different language, and it's the which in a way kind of it reading it with subtitles or watching it with subtitles makes it more impressive, because the dialogue is incredible, and I didn't realize it was until watching it with subtitles. Like, I knew there was something there, but like it's great dialogue.
Well, it was like me watching Macbeth and having no idea what the hell was going on.
Exactly.
But I'm sitting there and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just this. It's such a beautiful film to watch too. It's like I think it's the best black and white film to be made in probably the last, I don't know, 50 years or so.
Even the artist was black and white, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I'm not saying like best quality. I mean,
the
way it looks. Obviously,
that was like the first one to come to mind.
Yeah.
And even like going back to the performances, it's so insane. Just obviously, there's just these two dudes, and then there's two other guys. One's the mermaid, and one's kind of just a hallucination in a way. But just the performances between Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson, and how contrasted they are at the same time. Like, they're both professional actors, but Willem Dafoe's was more theatrical and definitely worked for his character. And like, Willem Dafoe's just amazing.
He doesn't get enough credit.
And then Robert Pattinson's like a whole different style, but they both worked so well together. Like, he's always, I know Robert Pattinson's more like if this doesn't really bring out my acting chops, I don't want to do it anymore. Instead of, obviously the Twilight days where he had to.
Yeah, he's over the one for you, one for me formula, and now he's just like, all for me. I've made enough money with these dumbass Twilight movies.
Yeah, and
so
I don't blame
I'm gonna
him.
make what I want now.
And this definitely had to push the limits of his acting, because he was fantastic in this, and I'm sure it was not easy to do anything either of these guys did.
Yeah,
and I know their style is completely different as far as like how they were on set too.
Yeah,
because Dafoe actually stayed on the site, like, instead of going to a hotel.
Yeah. I was reading that they kind of were when they were on set. Robert Pattinson was very method to the point where Willem Dafoe just kind of had to back away from him because it was a little too intense for him.
Oh yeah.
But then when it came to being off a set, Robert Pattinson stayed in like the cushy hotel and hung out with the crew and everything, and then Willem Dafoe roughed it in the.
So they basically didn't talk to each other at all until after the movie.
Yeah, and they say they get along too, which is cool. But it's really kind of, I feel like that inadvertently probably helped with them kind of butting heads throughout the film. But it's just, I can't say enough about how this film looks. They built that lighthouse specifically for this film, which is a feat in itself, getting that done. And then, apparently when they tore it down, the town people of the area they were at were very upset because they wanted it to stay around.
I would be too.
But I guess at that point, because of all the shit they had to do to it, it had become too dangerous to keep up, which is understandable. I mean, they flooded it. They did a whole bunch of stuff with it. So it was kind of, actually that might have been a set when they flooded it, but either way, it was not meant to be an existing structure, and those are never safe to keep around.
And I know
it's
the
beautiful
cabin
regardless.
itself was a different set too. Like, they were just two different sets. Like, so it was pretty crazy that they built those things in just It looked like just one island.
Yeah. One thing that I remember from my first viewing of it in theaters is that the sound design really allows you mentally to get in the mindset that they are in, like the losing your mind kind of way, because of that constant foghorn that just keeps happening. It's like a omnipresent. Fuck, what's the word I'm looking for? Omnipresent being, in a way, I guess.
Yeah.
Or character
It's
itself.
its own character, yeah.
Yeah, where it's just kind of like, sometimes it's loud, sometimes it kind of puts you on edge. Like, is it going to be super loud? And obviously, that was heightened for me watching with a newborn, because the movie is quiet a lot of the time, and then the foghorn will just come in. And I was like, oh shit, God, turn it down. It's just, it really adds to it with the that sound, and the wind is just a beautiful sounding film with a great score. It's just a technical masterpiece. I mean, people might not like the story, but
yeah, it's a very confusing concept in everything that it has in it. But everything surrounding it is gorgeous and great, and it's just that. I mean, even the story itself is kind of masterfully done. You just don't know what the fuck is going on, and it's crazy, and it's hectic, and it's insane, and you don't understand what people are saying, but it's so good, and that's how I felt the first time watching it. It's just like, I don't know what I just watched, but it was so good, I couldn't hate it. And there's people, like, first time watching this, who were leaving the theater that I was in.
I was the only one in the theater when I saw it.
I was there with, not me specifically, but there was a group of people in the theater, and there was people just leaving. I was just like, what the fuck? I mean, I understand it's weird, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
Like it blew my mind. And even after it came out, went to home and everything, it just, people were just giving it shit reviews. I'm like, you're dumb.
Yeah. There's some people that should not be allowed to give movie reviews. They should make their own opinion, but as far as putting them online, don't.
Yeah.
It's
hard to talk about.
It's very hard to talk about. Willem Dafoe is by far my favorite part of this. I mean, obviously, I love Robert Pattinson as well, but Willem Dafoe, I don't know about you, but you cannot take your eyes off of him when he's on screen. He's so great. Even though this is arguably Robert Pattinson's film as far as who's the lead, just because it never really shows Willem Dafoe by himself, but it shows Robert Pattinson by himself a lot. And when Willem Dafoe is on screen, he's just so commanding, even being smaller than Robert Pattinson. His voice, his character, he just demands your attention. And that alone, I would, like, if I didn't like the film, it would still keep me there. I'd be like, what's Willem Dafoe going to do next? Because he's just so great in it. And that's something he does in a lot of his films. Like Boondock Saints, he's obviously the best part of. He's the best part.
Even Green Goblin.
Yeah, he's the best part of the Florida Project, best part of the Spider-Man movie that he's in, best part of At Eternity's Gate, which, I mean, that's
just
his film, but
it's just a phenomenal actor all spectrum around.
Absolutely.
So good.
The thing that this movie, along with The Witch, very few directors do this. Well, because of how many movies I watch, it's probably more than most people have. Most people have that one director they go to. I have multiple, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not that many. Where Robert Eggers, every time you see one of his films, you just can't wait for the next one.
Yeah.
And from the sound of it, the next one is about like a Viking village. It's called The Northmen.
Oh man, so it's your movie. You're ready for that one. Holy shit.
Hey, it's my people. It's my people.
That's so funny.
Yeah, my Swedish heritage, my Swedish and Norwegian heritage.
At the end of the day, you're getting at least your money's worth for what your eyes are looking at.
Absolutely.
On these movies.
You're gonna get a gorgeous film with great sound design.
Creepy animals. Just watching these characters.
Oh yeah, I am
some
excited
really
for the
good
Northmen.
acting.
Yeah.
Now, whether or not you like the story is up to you. So far, everything he's done, I've loved.
Same here. But I can see how like the casual moviegoer who really just wants like a straightforward movie. First of all, if you're a casual moviegoer who wants a straightforward movie, why did you watch this trailer and say, I need to see that? Because obviously the trailer is just like, I don't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to find out, but I'm going to go watch it to find out.
That's exactly how I was after I watched it.
Yeah, and then, but you see these people, and same with The Witch too, where people are just like, oh, it's going to be like a great horror movie. It's like, no, it's not. It's going to be like a psychological thriller.
I could see people seeing the Witch trailer and being like, oh, that's going to be horror. Because
I see
Witch
well, I mean,
scary and killing.
Yeah, that one is horror.
Yeah.
But it's a little more psychological thriller than anything than it is, because it's not really scary. It's just like you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And this is the same where... But like the
this
trailer
just advances it tenfold.
Yeah, the trailer didn't make it seem like a straight horror film.
Yeah.
It made it look like two guys losing their mind, which any director who has a film about two guys losing their mind and doesn't make it trippy, take their filmmaking license away from them.
Yeah.
Because if you're trying to show two people losing their mind and it's not trippy, you're not doing it right. But yeah, I love Robert Eggers. I can't wait to see what else he does. And this is, in my mind, this is at least, I would say it's an overall masterpiece, but, you know, I could see other people not liking the story. It's at least a technical masterpiece for those people, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I love this movie. I'm glad I actually got to read up on it more, and I'm actually glad you just picked it, because I really did want to rewatch it and try to find out what the fuck was going on. I got a little bit more of a grasp. Still don't know what the fuck's going on. Yeah. But at the same time, I do, and that's the best part. Rewatching is great. Do it often, people. Or not, whatever. Oh my gosh, I just read something that while Robert Eggers, this is a really dumb fact, but it's also kind of cool. Robert Eggers, while writing it, was listening to hours of YouTube videos of subwoofer rumblings, wave crashing, and wind blowing and foghorns. Oh my god, I can imagine
just like driving himself crazy while watching it. It's
dedication.
Last thing I will say about this, this is about. It's loosely based on a real event, and I believe it was 1801 off the shores of Scotland. There was a lighthouse that was manned by 4 people, and all 4 people went missing. There's a movie about that with Gerard Butler. That's actually pretty good. I watched it last year. But like that itself is an interesting story. So if people wanted to check that out, I would suggest it. It's called The Vanishing. Let me just double check, make sure that's the correct one.
Sounds familiar.
I talked about it briefly on the podcast because it was one of my catch-up movies. But yeah, it's called The Vanishing. Obviously, it is not 100% accurate because these people did disappear. No one knows what happened to them. This speculates what could have happened to them. It's got a lot of great performances on it. It's a little more mainstream if you know, some of our listeners are looking for something a little more mainstream. But yeah, just want to throw that out there. It's based on the same thing. It's a very interesting story if people want to check it out. Because it's, you know, I don't know how people feel about unsolved mysteries and stuff, but it's interesting as far as that goes. All right, so let's get into the judgment. As it was my turn to pick the movie, that means I go first on deciding whether or not this becomes a shelf boy with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden and nothing else. Those are the only 2 shelf boys. There's not another 80 movies on there or whatever it is.
There's just no those, other single one.
Just those 2. No, there are quite a bit, but those are the only 2 that I remember, and it's an ongoing joke, so I'm going to keep doing it.
So we're just going to stick on with it.
So, will this become a shelf boy? I think you could just tell by the way we talked about it.
Yeah, both of us just spoke about it.
Yeah, for me, and I'm assuming for you, yes, this is 100% the shelf boy.
You took the word out of my mouth. Yes.
Yes. So, we're fond of the Lighthouse, aren't we?
We love it.
Hark! Hark! I can't yell too loud.
I'll do it for you.
Yeah. But yeah, so Lighthouse does make it on the shelf with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden, and that brings us to our plugs for this week. My plug, it's going to come to no surprise as anyone. By the time that this episode comes out, I would have seen this movie at least once, possibly twice, and we may even have a review for it on YouTube. Ooh. But it is the movie The Green Knight.
Yeah, I avoided anything Green Knight today just because I knew you were going to talk about it.
Yeah, just go see it. Check out our trailer reaction.
It's gotten really good reviews so far. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that or not.
I don't want to talk about any of the reviews.
It, but
I'm avoiding
excited.
everything about
That's
it.
all I'm saying. Really excited.
I'm avoiding. Are you able to come with me on Thursday, by the way?
I'm gonna make sure I can.
Okay, perfect.
Anyway, watch Green Knight.
Watch Green Knight. Watch our trailer. Our trailer reaction. It's more like my trailer reaction with Glenn being there. But yeah, that's gonna be out. We'll probably have the review out by the time this podcast comes out too. So, Green Knight in theaters July 30th. Obviously, there's gonna be early showings on July 29th. That's when we're going. Written and directed by David Lowery. A fantasy retelling of the medieval story of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, starring Dev Patel, Alicia Vikander, Joel Edgerton, and Ralph Ineson. I heard him say Ineson, so I think it's Ineson, but it might be Ineson. I'm not going to listen to him how he pronounces his name.
How dare he know his name?
Well, I'm like 90% sure that's where I heard it was Ineson. But anyway,
right.
The Green Knight in theaters now. Check it out.
There you go. Mine's going to be a little bit more of an article for once. So we obviously just watched Old this last week here, or this last weekend. And there was like a thing. There was an ongoing thing with one of the characters that it was really intriguing, and they never fucking brought it up, which pissed me off to no end. About how one of the characters, like, there was a movie with Jack Nicholson and Marlon Brando.
Oh yeah,
and they never said what it was. And so Screen Rant actually has an article. I'm sure there's other places that probably actually do have this article too. Basically kind of saying what that was about. And so there was a whole concept here about one of the characters kind of getting dementia or something.
Yeah.
And just he can't think of this name for a movie.
That was one of the cooler aspects of it too.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
just,
what makes it cooler is that was actually a thing M. Night actually put in there because when his dad was getting dementia, that was kind of, I don't know if that was one of the things. I still have to read more of the article, but like it was kind of an ongoing thing. So he kind of added that in.
Yeah.
That was like a thing that he had to go through. So like it was cool that he put that in there. It was more heart than it was thought, putting that in there, from what it seems at least. But at least I know the movie now. Where is it? The
Missouri Breaks.
The Missouri Breaks, yeah. From 1976.
Sorry. I just looked it up.
No, you're good.
But yeah, that's really cool. It's really sad. I mean, obviously, writers write what they know, and I wish that inspiration had a happier story. I've had people in my family die or suffer from dementia and ultimately die, so it's very sad. But yeah, but we know the movie now at least.
Yeah. So that is the Screen Rant article. Old, the Marlon Brando and Jack Nicholson movie Obsession Explained.
Yes. Those are our plugs for this week. The Green Knight and Old. That article from Screen Rant, you said it was? Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one. Check it out. Those are our plugs. And that brings us to our assignment for next week. And Glenjamin Button, it is your turn.
It is
to pick
my
what movie
turn.
we're watching.
So very recently, me and my aunt were talking about Kevin Smith movies. And we were kind of like discussing like which ones really are favorites. And for me, it was Chasing Amy. For her, it was like Clerks. But there are a few that I still haven't watched of his. And this week's assignment is going to be one that I haven't seen, and I'm pretty sure you haven't seen because you didn't give it a rating. I've seen parts of it, never actually the full thing. So we're going to go ahead and go with Mallrats, 1995 film, rated R.
I've never met a person who lives in as much fear of his mother as you do.
You want I should tell my mother what we do in here at night?
What, that you play video games and I fall asleep unfulfilled?
Oh, she calls you callow in here. You say that like it's bad. Well, it means frightened and weak-willed. That was the only part of the letter I thought was complimentary.
This is Brody's private hell.
Where the hell did that come from? What's going on here?
And these
Brody man, Nietzsche Noochies
are his friends.
Ow!
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. What's a stink palm? Take your hand, you stick it like this. There, now you shake hands with the guy. You know how long it takes for that smell to come off? Do you stare at these things long enough, you're supposed to see some kind of hidden three-dimensional picture.
Yes.
And it is on Amazon Prime and also Tubi. Mallrats is about two guys, both dumped by their girlfriends, two best friends, seek refuge in the local mall.
Yes.
Written and directed by Kevin Smith. Stars Shannon Doherty, Jeremy
Doherty.
That's what I said. Why do you?
You said
it's like you
Doherty.
never listen to me. Jeremy London, Jason Lee, Ben Affleck's in there. Obviously Kevin Smith, and why can't I remember the one guy's name? Whatever.
Jason Mewes.
Thank you. Jesus, I was gonna die. I literally felt my breath leave my body.
Yeah. Fun fact: when Kevin Smith was trying to get the sequel to Mallrats greenlit, he actually selected our local mall, the Exton Square Mall, to be the shooting location, mainly because it's not absolutely dead, but there's like nothing going on
It's
there.
almost barren now.
So they wouldn't even need really that much security to keep it to keep it going. But obviously that never got made. I don't know if he has any plans to get it made, but so Mallrats, that is on Amazon, you said?
Amazon Prime and Tubi.
Ooh, so Tubi is a free service for those who don't know. You do have ads, but if you don't have Amazon Prime, you can watch it on Tubi for free with ads.
Yes.
Uncensored, but with ads. Mallrats is our assignment for next week. Thank you everyone for listening. As always, you can check out our website, www.keystonefilmreview.com. On Instagram, we are Keystone_film_review. Twitter, Keystone_film. Facebook, Keystone Film Review. YouTube, Keystone Film Review. And on Letterboxd, I am Mike, KFR.
And I am Glenn KFR.
And that will do it until you see us or listen to us. Oh, I fucked it up.
The tall tales
next
are
week.
ruined, boy.
When we watch Ye Mallrats, directed by Kevin Smith. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye-bye.